Welcome to Zambition, the channel on which we engage in dialogue with leaders from across sectors and generations. For Zambition, the term leader does not only refer to those in high-ranking positions. It includes everyone who is seeking to make a difference in society. Greetings and welcome to Zambition. My name is Martin Kalungubanda, your host on this channel. Today, our guest is someone whose work, creativity and innovation I have followed for a number of years. Her name is Mrs Sylvia Mwansa. She is a thought leader in her own right. She is a business leader. She has played a number of leading roles within and outside the country. Many of you may have come across her teachings on well-being, health, style, and how we show up. I had to make sure I dressed up for the occasion. Mrs. Mwansa, welcome to Zambition.
Thank you so much. I am pleased and glad to be here.
I would like to begin by inviting you to share with us an object or image that best describes the journey you have walked this far. What might that be?
The object probably I will is the wheel of life, and I equate it to the life of an eagle. The life of an eagle is such that the eagle reflects and does the things that are inspirational through hard work. Because in my life, I've inspired myself or motivated myself to hard work. And this hard work is what has enabled me to survive all odds and reach where I've reached today. So in managing my wheel of life with the life of an eagle has made me stand the test of time. So that's what I will equate my object to.
Wonderful. So the interplay between the ego and the wheel of life. And so what has the ego seen or done in that wheel of life?
The ego has created time for everything. It has made me realize that I have to balance my life in all the 6 areas of life, because every human being has been given 24 hours, and how I utilize that 24 hours depends on the life that I lead. And you know, the ego always has got a lifespan, and once that lifespan, is almost coming to an end, it has to go through a rejuvenation or a rebirth, and the rebirth is really painful, because the things that is being subjected to its rebirth are the issues of life. And sometimes we don't realize that issues of life are very challenging. And if we are not equal to the task, then we fall. And when we fall, sometimes we get depressed. Sometimes we think that everybody hates you. Sometimes we think that, there's no one who is helping you. Sometimes we feel that, and most of the time we feel that we've got no time, to do the things that we need to be doing. So the life of an ego for me has enabled me to, to create time for the things that matter to me. And these things, it starts with my family and home. What time am I, creating so that I can be able to nourish my family and home? What activities am I doing in my family and home? What activities am I doing in the mental and education spoke? What time am I creating in financial and career? What time am I creating in being ethical and spiritual? What time am I creating in for my physical and health? So I have to make sure that I create time, and it's not easy. So I just look at this image of an ego and say, if an ego who is not as privileged, who hasn't even got a home or to say, it's already done and they have got workers around them, if an ego can make it, can create time to go and have a rebirth, I can just do the same. And so this is why I really, I'm also a very good volunteer to say, while I'm volunteering, I'm also getting knowledge. While I'm attending events like the one that I was telling you where I was, where my daughter was speaking and we had great speakers, is through these mental and education activities that enables you to grow and also enrich yourself and do the things that you think are not worthy doing when you go and hear other people's stories. So through the image of the ego, I've also learned how to tell my stories, how to enrich, how to focus and how to strategize, because the ego is a very good strategic object. So I have learned a lot of how to create time, how to make synergy, and just how to make sure that whatever I want done, I have to do it, no matter how painful it is. So that's what I've resonated with the ego.
Thank you very much. And Mrs. Mwansa, you have served as the first female vice president of the Zambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. What have you learned about what we as a country might be losing by not having women leading more industries and business institutions in general?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to appreciate the Lusaka Chamber of Commerce and Industry for having nominated me to serve on the board as member at large in the beginning, and eventually as the first woman to serve as Zaki's vice president in charge of trade and commerce. As you know, Zaki is the voice of industry, and therefore, when I joined Zaki, I wanted to be part of the voice to represent the women folk who are doing business in Zambia. I was part of the women, in these things when we are talking about how we can engage and how we can make a difference. I was part of the women in business who had been trying to lobby government for policies that drove entrepreneurship, to levels of development. And top on the list that time was fair rentals for business premises, because I had businesses in the malls. And so I joined so that probably I would be able to resolve that challenge where I could be part of sitting on the table where they're making these decisions. I also found, out that there was no structured or strong lobby for development of women entrepreneurs. So as chairperson of the Tenants Association, I experienced failure to influence the declaration or creation of policy framework that compelled landlords to charge rentals in kwacha as opposed to the rentals being charged in foreign currency like the US dollar. Even with Bank of Zambia confirming that the kwacha was the legal tender. So I started to create myself and said, what can I do so that I could be part of the bigger picture, excuse me, where we are really able to bring out the issues that need development. So what are we losing by having few women, leading industries and business in general? This is, most important is that the problems of women are not being recognized or understood because there is no one, or there are very few, like in my trading, a platform, which I came to realize that there was no one to represent the challenges of women as they emerged. And this is a situation whereby you actually speak about when, for example, somebody comes to Mandahill and you're complaining about the rentals, and you say, no, it's very difficult, to stay in this business and continue trading from here. What information you'd be getting, even if you're speaking from a person of influence, they would be saying, you must be making a lot of money for you to be in that place. So there's no one who is listening to your challenges. That is one area where I've seen that when women who in that field are not sitting at the right position, these are the things we miss, because then no one is able to understand. And also, I also used to wonder, I still do, as to why no one seems to care when women businesses cease to operate due to partially enforced, business policies. And yet there's also this goodwill from government, which is saying we want SMEs to thrive, and SMEs at different levels. So where I am standing, this is what I felt that was missing, and this is what drove me to say, probably if I sit in at an institution where government, where they lobby government to have these good policies that are already there, but just probably to implement them. That was one of the areas where I decided to agree to sit on the board of ZACI. And in addition, we keep on losing out on national development, because when women lead, many benefits, the benefits accrue, starting with the healthy family, because when a woman leads, they will take good care of family, and also appropriate use of financial resources when a woman is leading or when a woman is sitting at that table. So I think these are some of the things that we are missing when women are not sitting at the table where decisions are being made, so that we can have that difference.
The capacity you have as women to take care of more than just your own issues.
Yes.
To ensure that everyone in the ecosystem is benefiting and is becoming better off. Mrs. Mwansa, by any standards, and pardon me for saying this, you are a very successful business lady. What do we need to do as a country to make your story not just that of Sylvia Mwansa, but also every woman's story, every girl's story?
I actually like that that question. And as you know, I started doing business in 1994 at a Carousel shopping center, obviously dealing with fashion, and we added printing and advertising, and now the consultancy, which I've done, because I've done a lot of personal development courses. I even became a teacher, and I'm doing coaching and executive coaching, and also relationship coaching. So my story is that of hard work. My story is that of perseverance and growing a brand for the last 26 years. So being participative and not giving up despite reaching dead ends sometimes, just having a positive mindset has differentiated me. And I really, thank God for this differentiation, because it is deliberate, because I want to succeed. And as I succeed, I also want other people to succeed. And this is why I'm always helpful when somebody wants information, even where I'm coming from. The World Women, I had my name came up several times, and I had to give assistance and help, my card. So I'm ready now, going to be receiving those questions of the young ladies that they want to resolve. So it is this story of hard work that needs to be made common among women and girls, so that many women and girls may emulate and become successful too. They say failure is an orphan, while success has many relatives. So let's make those many relatives, so that we can tell the stories of success together, because that is very, very important. Yeah.
you are open to sharing the knowledge you have gained over 2 decades to those women and men who would like to learn the pathway. And indeed, that's the only way we can grow more people to become like you or to find their own paths. Mrs. Mwansa, we will take a little break. And when we return, I will ask you what your Zambition is.
One of the ways to unlock the country's potential in science and technology is to embrace mathematics. And that's why the Center for Mathematics Excellence has been created to enhance mathematics in the country. At the Center of Mathematics Excellence, we demystify mathematics. For example, I'll show you how to simplify a simple equation like this one. X plus 6 is equal to 10. We simply subtract 6 from both sides to obtain x plus 6 minus 6 is equal to 10 minus 6, and x is equal to 4. That's how we simplify such equations.
Welcome back. Our guest today is Mrs. Sylvia Mwansa, a business person with many accomplishments and at the same time exploring many other ways in which women in business can get to the point where they feel financially independent. Mrs. Mwansa, what is your Zambition? What is your highest aspiration for our country?
Zambia needs policies which stimulate women entrepreneurship through strategic financial instruments that facilitate funding to start up women entrepreneurs, as well as providing basic training that includes business management, because sometimes people think business, you just start it, but we need to know how to manage the business. So business management and financial literacy is a big thing when you're doing business, as well as monitoring and evaluation of progress and mentorship by an appropriate government entity, because this sometimes is what is missing for us to grow, and especially startups. The entrepreneur must also there are those entrepreneurs that have been doing business for a long time, like myself. So the entrepreneur that have been doing business for a while should also be engaged by the appropriate government entity, taking into consideration the developments that may have affected or limited their growth, because this is very, very important. One example is what is happening in this COVID-19 era, where many businesses have faced challenges. Membership of a local chamber of commerce and industry will also be advantageous to women entrepreneurs, as it will provide opportunity for further learning, market access, and growth through appropriate use of networks. And sometimes we forget that networks are the things that grow us. So that leads to funding, entrepreneurs at all levels, because sometimes we want, what happens to startups should be able to happen to the entrepreneur at another level. So the entrepreneur should be looked at, or even the funding should be looked at all levels, which are segmented according to their level of need, not a one size fits all. Like even when ZDA would be saying, no, come and register, we do training, we do this. Sometimes it doesn't, fit into somebody else. So they should be able to segment these entrepreneurs so that, each need is taken care of. So my primary ambition, therefore, is to find cooperating partners and or funders to participate in a pilot project for real entrepreneurship, real empowerment of SMEs. Because empowerment means differently to different people. To some, it is just getting a cup of tea, it's just buying a car. Some it's long term, some it's short term. So it depends on what somebody needs. So how can this women empowerment be done? And I'll give you an example with the available funding. Much talked about in institutions. Institutions like that include, but not limited to, African Development Bank, local banks, Ministry of Gender, ZDA, Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, and all these people that are helping entrepreneurs. If we were to be deliberate in this funding, we can then see growth, because otherwise the growth that comes from, which is already arranged, that and this is what is happening. My need is different, but there will come a funder who wants me to be in agriculture. I'm not in agriculture, so I cannot benefit from there. So people should be able, or funders should be able to determine my need, the need of the next person, the need of the marketeer, the need of the one who is doing manufacturing, the need of the person that is doing hair, the need, because everyone needs some kind of machinery which needs funding. So our needs are different. So how are we going to do this if we have to see growth? This growth is that one which can be measured, where SMEs grow organically, not that, a win today, or because I have been able to acquire this funding, so today I'll finish all my challenges. No, it's not that kind of thing, but where it grows organically. Micro, we say that if I was micro in 1994, I have to be able to grow. Maybe in 5 years, I grow to small. And maybe in 6 years or 10 years, I grow to medium. Maybe from medium, in maybe another 10 years, I grow to large. And the large ones now become multinational. So we can have a track record, which actually gives the impetus of me doing the business that has got a long term, that has got short term, and also that has got the medium term. Which, this is going to give us each, say it will give me, who is holding this relay now, to pass on the baton to somebody else. And I'll give you an example why I say this. If, for example, in year one, we've got 10 women, that needs this funding, and we identify them, we give them the training, we mentor them, and we give them all the resources that they need. At the end of the first year, and we don't forget that, because we mentioned the monitoring and evaluation, and also adding, value to the people that are around you. So they give you 2 people to mentor, so that what you're doing, they're also doing. And at the end of the year, we'll have 20 people being empowered, and real empowerment, where they're able to do things by themselves. Then in year 2, those 20 get 2 to understudy them and work with them for that period of time. At the end of the year, the 2 years, there will be 40, and so on and so forth. So in year 10, we'll be able to have 10,240 empowered women, with the 10 that started to now starting to say, oh, I think now when I look at my bank account, or when I look at the investment, I'm worth, I'm a millionaire. Because this is what is going to be different from the people that are always going to conferences, people are always going to meetings, people are always doing research, people are always in a class, where at the end of the day, nothing is happening. So for me, real empowerment is my Zambition. And this is what I keep on telling, that if you empower 10 women in year one, you have this 10,000. And, one thing that is missing in this country, why probably Zambition is not taking place, is because we are even so shy to celebrate success, to tell our stories. And if we told our stories in this way, that I am successful because I was mentored, I was funded, it will give us such great, appetite to even, some people will know, and they will come and say, well, how did you do it? It's very easy for you to tell your story. And this story is the success stories which women and girls, including supportive men, can emulate. So that's my Zambition.
Thank you very much. And you are saying all that is in some way anchored on the quality of finance. And coincidentally, I am just reading a book written by one of the colleagues I teach with, values-based banking, in which she is making an argument. Finance determines a lot of things, and there is such thing as finance, which is a force for good. And we have seen in a very small way from values-based banks that are seeking to create impact, then people like yourself and those who are wishing to ensure that women are empowered can tap into, they create what is known as patient finance. Mrs. Mwansa, what tends to stand in the way that you have described, the Zambition where all women are empowered? What stands in the way?
Yeah, you know, in Zambia, we've got good government will, to inspire. And we have failed to take advantage of the good policies. And why am I saying this? I think one of the impediments is there is no punishment for transgressors. There's just no punishment, of the policy or regulatory guidelines. For example, businesses that price their goods and services in foreign currency, even with the Bank of Zambia knowledge or supervising that institutions of financial market, clearly stating that the operating currency is Zambian kwacha, they will not even obey it. Why? There's no punishment. Like we used to be told in the face that you can actually go anywhere. There is no punishment even if I charge my goods in foreign currency. There's no punishment. So the moment we get these transgressors of policy or regulatory guidelines punished, we're going to see these good policies are going to drive, the economy, because they are there. Even when, when investors are coming in the country, they encourage for partnerships. ZDA encourages for partnerships, and even when we are working, because Zaki works very closely with ZDA, with the Ministry of Commerce, the rules or the policy is there, but the action on the ground is not taken on. That is the challenge. Why? That's what stands in the way of us realizing, my aspiration is, that one thing where there's actually no evaluating of if something has been said, we must do it this way. And if it's not done that way, there's no one who actually gets the punishment. I think that's what stands in our way.
Thank you. And my final question, Mrs. Mwansa, what is the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
The best piece of advice actually came from my parents, and it's always been my profile. On my profile, it's always there. There's enough for everyone. We should not feel jealousy. We should not feel, aggrieved. We should not feel that there is something that if I don't share this, then it's not for me. There's enough for everyone because we all are unique. We all like different things. There are some people who would not buy any other car but a Toyota. There are some who would not buy any other car but a Volvo. There are some who would not buy any other thing, because, some they don't wear short clothes, some they wear, long clothes, some they love trousers, some they love. So we are all different. So in this respect, good business facilitating policies and laws or regulations should result in growth of the Zambian economy because there's enough for everyone. More jobs created, increased industrialization and growth of SMEs, both in number and in in genuine businesses. This is what I call that there is enough, for everybody. Today's SMEs could be tomorrow's large corporations, and this is what even Zambia and multinational companies like Zambition Group, have done. Because we have to start from somewhere and grow. Because why? There's enough for everyone. And my father used to say, you don't have to feel, to feel like, because we were all just, my father had girl children. And he said, there's enough for all my girls because they are all different. Some people will do this, some people will do that, some people will do that. Then came, these issues that we, you want to be fighting even with. There's no need, because my biggest belief, my biggest lesson is there's enough for everyone.
Mrs. Mwansa, thank you very much. Thank you for drawing our attention to the place of women in industry, in business, and that if the future of our country equally rests in the capacity that women brings, then we can look forward to a future Zambia. Thank you very much for leading the way. Thank you very much for your openness and letting us know there is enough for everyone.
Thank you so much. Yes, indeed, there is.
Having listened to the dialogue and followed my conversation with our guest, I now invite you to look at the drawing that emerged out of that dialogue. Take time to see the contours, the colors, the images that are reflected on the painting, on the drawing. And pay attention to what the drawing evokes in you. What are the feelings? What are the thoughts that are ignited by you looking at the painting? What thoughts does the painting generate in you with regard to your own leadership? What thoughts, feelings, and images does this painting evoke in you with regard to the future of our country? What else does this painting make you think and feel? Kindly share your reflections on this channel so that we can continue the dialogue on the future of the country we all love, on the future of our nation.